Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of Mocktail Minutes. This is Bailey.
And this is Brianna.
This week I am drinking, I think it's called Steaz, Steaz. I found it at Fresh Time, but it's like a green tea. They call it an antioxidant brew. Not terrible.
Nice. I have a little bit of Bubs Natural, their electrolytes. And then I also mixed in some of the trace elements, mineral drops, a little extra Redmond sea salt. I feel like I need all the things today. I'm so exhausted, which sounds so silly because Bailey's literally sitting here like about to have a baby at any moment. So in the grand scheme of things, I'm not as tired as I could be. But yeah, just needed a little extra pick me up
I mean,
today.
hopefully by the time this episode is aired, you guys will have seen me post that I had a baby.
Oh yeah. I will be shocked if you haven't. Hopefully tonight. All the baby vibes.
Like completing our series, doing our part 3 to summer weight loss. So if you haven't listened to the previous two, our first one was what to do first for your summer body. And then last week we talked about specific action steps you can take. And then this week we were talking about like the secrets behind everything. So we kind of talked about a little bit about these and what to do first, but we're going to dive in a little bit more into the secret behind it because it's a lot of things. You got to challenge yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
That really is the secret. Not challenge yourself in a way that like willpower your way out of life type of thing, but like really get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah. This is kind of like the secret sauce, if you will, like what keeps you going, because we've talked about this a lot, how you like start off a new goal and you have all these ambitions. And then I'm just telling you, like the shiny wears off. And this is how you're going to kind of keep your way working, shipping at your goals and like trying to get the results that you want, especially during a time like summer where it's so easy to throw in the towel.
Yeah. You have to kind of screw the mindset of motivation and get into the mindset of you have choices to be consistent. So that would say that's part of like the step 1 of the secret of weight loss for over the summer, especially is recognizing that you do have these choices. And like we have talked about, recognizing the excuses you have, deciding if they're valid or invalid, and then make the choice. Are you making choices to skip breakfast? Okay, that's your choice. Are you making the choice to sleep in because you don't want to get up because kids are in bed? Okay, that's your choice. But then you can't also be like, well, I just don't have time to do this because I don't feel like getting out of bed. Well, you might not feel like doing some things. And when it comes to making these choices, it's not always going to be like something you're super excited to do either. Like,
No.
I always give the example of dinner because I hate cooking, first of all. But then, second of all, like some nights I don't get home till 7. So if Josh has not cooked dinner or we both get home late, then yeah, the last thing I want to do is cook dinner. But you got to make that choice to do it anyways.
Yeah, you have to. And there's going to be times where you don't. And I think this is really where, like, we talked about this with Lindsay in a couple episodes back when we talked about the, like, stuff you need to hear. And we also did a summer visualization last summer with her. So if you haven't listened to those are really good ones. But this is where you kind of have to take your power back and be like, I'm deciding not to do this. No one is forcing you to do anything. You're deciding that you want to lose weight or you want to build muscle or whatever it is that you want to do. And so you have to do things to get there. And I think so many times we fall victim to our excuses. And yes, everybody's excuses are valid. Everybody is busy. Everybody has stuff going on. No one is discrediting that. But I think a lot of times we just use that as a crutch. Like, I just can't change because I have all this going on and there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. But that's literally your choice. You're choosing to do them. You're also choosing not to do them. And I shared this the other day on my story by Mel Robbins. It was, instead of saying, I don't have time, try saying it's not a priority and see how that feels. And I think that changes the game. And I shared that and I actually had a lot of feedback, and it wasn't to like, this isn't like a shame thing, like, oh, shame yourself for once again not doing something. But I think just getting really honest with yourself, they're just not a priority and we're not making time for them. And so not trying to like shame yourself by being like, oh, look, another thing I'm just not doing, but like getting really realistic with yourself, like some tough love. Like, do I not have time, or is this just not a priority of mine? Because I think a lot of times, and we talked about this in our episode of swiping your credit card, we have good intentions and we want to change, but then it kind of just stops there. And then we get frustrated. It's like, well, I want to lose weight. So why am I not losing weight? You know?
Mhm. And it's okay if it's not a priority right now. I mean, I have things that I want to do at this point that are not getting done, but they're just not my priority right now. And that's okay because I have other things going on.
Yeah.
So that's all right. You just have to decide if it's not going to be a priority, you have to be okay with that. Or if you're like, no, I really want this, then you have to be okay with the choices you're going to have to make to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and if you're someone where you're like, I just can't be consistent with these things, then you have to take time to break down those barriers, decide what it is that is causing you to kind of be reluctant to make these changes. What is it that is causing you to not be consistent? Where if it's just something where you're like, okay, I'm going to eat 20 grams of protein every meal, and then you go and do it, and you're like, I just can't do it. Well, I'm
Right.
going to ask you why. Like, why
Why?
can't you do it?
Mhm.
And you're like, well, I just can't. That's not a good enough answer. Like, you have to, I mean, that's a good time where we would brainstorm. We decide, is it because you don't want to cook eggs? Cool. Don't eat eggs in the morning. If it's something where you don't have time to prep a lunch, okay, make it the day before. There's always ways to kind of break down what's going on so that you can make the choice, which then the second like secret to weight loss over the summer, I would say, is knowing that you can take care of yourself. You have that choice to take care of yourself, regardless of being out of routine,
Yeah.
regardless of all the activities you have coming up. You can still take care of yourself. And I hear this so often is it's like summer happens, everything's just out the window. There's all these things going on. It doesn't have to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
You have the choice to take care of yourself. So
Yeah.
it's making that choice and deciding, well, how are you going to do this? How are you going to set yourself up for success? And if you're like, okay, it's not a priority for me to pack a veggie tray for this picnic I'm going to friends with, okay, cool. But then you can't be like, I can't get my veggies in. No, you can. You
Yeah.
just made a choice to do it.
Yeah. You're choosing not to, right? Because odds are you're bringing something. And so that's, I think that is such a big key takeaway. And we talk about mindset all the time, but really the thoughts that we think are gonna dictate the actions that we take. And if you are constantly like, I can't, then you're not going to, because you're not gonna, number one, believe in yourself enough to make those changes. And number two, you're just gonna feel defeated and be like, no, this doesn't work. And so really that taking care of yourself portion is like the next thing to the secret. Like the secret to summer weight loss is I'm choosing to take care of myself because I've made a choice to, and now I'm going to, and I'm going to be consistent where I can, because yes, summer is just crazy, right? It's like inflammatory. We're drinking, we're staying up late, we're off our schedule. Everything is out of whack. And so I talk about this a lot in my consistency calls, like trying to be the same creature all year isn't going to work. It just looks completely different in the summer. And so instead of being stressed out by being out of your routine, think of how can I take care of myself today? Because it's the choice I made. How can I do it? You're going to a barbecue. Yeah. What fiber can I bring? What there is going to be consistent of protein? What kind of choices can I make to really set myself up instead of just having the like, oh, well, I'm going to a barbecue and this is just a wash today, you know?
Yeah, like you don't have to, like the out of routine excuse. It's kind of a piss poor excuse, not gonna
We're
lie.
always going to be out of routine. We are always, for the most part, we're out of the routine that we want to be in, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
And again, you're choosing these things that you're doing on your weekends and everything. So cool. Yeah, enjoy your weekend, but still take care of yourself. And if it's something like a barbecue, barbecues are actually, they can be pretty easy to balance out your meals. A lot of times it's like, I'll have people come in, they're like, well, I just was really bad this weekend. I had a burger and then I did get my veggies in. I had some potato salad and then macaroni and cheese, and then I had some cookies, and I went all downhill just because I wanted a burger. I'm like, well, first of all, I don't understand why burgers get a bad
I don't
reputation.
either. I'm like, they could be a great option.
Like, I mean, there's a lot around red meat saying it's inflammatory. Really, added sugars, blood sugar imbalances are more inflammatory, is what we're starting to see. So instead of feeling like you have to throw in the towel, where you're like, great, I suck because I ate a burger. Well, that burger's giving you protein. So that's great. You can start there. Yeah, can you add some veggies? If you're grilling, grill your vegetables. We grill a lot over the summer. And so a lot of times we'll just chop up some vegetables. Josh will throw them on the Blackstone. And then like literally just need oil and seasoning and your veggies are done. You can get so many veggies in. Or you can do raw veggie trays or like berries, watermelon. Those are great for the summer. You can also choose to balance out your carbohydrates more. And it's not to say that you can only have like one. Like if you really want potato salad and macaroni and cheese, cool, have them both, but do smaller servings of each of it if that's what you really want. Or if you're like, really, I just care about the baked potato salad or whatever it is, then just have that and move on. And it's kind of the same thing with burgers. Like I honestly don't usually eat a bun with my burger because I don't really care about the bun unless we're out to eat. If we're at home, I usually just don't eat a bun.
Oh yeah, I'd much rather have like potato salad or something else, to be honest. And I try to, just for personal reasons, I'm trying to do more like gluten-free stuff. And so I'm not going to be like, oh, did you bring gluten-free buns? Like I'm just not, like whatever. I'm a big girl. I can handle myself. But I feel like we need to stop having the like all or nothing mindset. Cause I think this is where people, they really trip themselves up. It's like, well, I went, we're just going to say barbecue because I feel like summers people barbecue. Okay. Went to a barbecue and it kind of just all went out the window. Like, yeah, I started with the burger and then, okay, I had some of this and then I did have some drinks and I feel like people, instead of realizing like, I don't have to be this all or nothing person, I can still make good choices while I'm here that are goal supportive choices. It'll be fine. Because as soon as you have that, like, well, I already did it, the damage is done, you're just going to do so much more damage, if you will, instead of just being like, you know what? This meal, maybe it did lack fiber. Maybe there wasn't a lot of fresh veggies, right? You went over to someone's house and there wasn't. Like, it's not the end all be all. You will be fine. But you're going to have a much harder time getting back on track with the goals that you've set if you're just like, well, I already messed it up. Everything goes out the window. I'm going to eat whatever I want. I'm going to drink whatever I want. I'm going to get home late. And then I'm going to feel like crap the next day. I'm going to do it all over again until a week from now when I finally get my ish together.
Yeah. So even like when you're thinking about how you can take care of yourself, like recognize that maybe at first it is probably going to be a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe it does feel a little bit restrictive, but that's all. It has to do with your mindset. How are you coming about this? Come at it as, and I'm going to experiment a little bit because if you eat like a burger, you got the bun, maybe you have some chips, macaroni and cheese, potato salad. Yeah, you're probably going to get full, but then it's not going to last you very long. Where if you do that burger with a bunch of veggies, throw in some fruit, all different types of things, you're get some color in, it's actually going to keep you fuller for longer. So then you're not going to feel so snacky the rest of the day because you're not on that roller coaster. So go into these things with an experimental mindset instead of I'm restricting for my summer weight loss type of thing. See how you can just support your body better. So enjoy the burger, get the veggies, eat avocados. They're great to throw in a salad. A slaw mix is great. You can buy that and then you don't have to cut anything.
On your way, grab a pop or not a poppy, which is fine if you like poppy, but like Olipop, they're higher in fiber. Grab an Olipop. Like I'm going to have an Olipop. It's a fun way to get in fiber. You can also make a mocktail out of it. And then you don't really have to worry about it, right? Like think about instead of, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do anything to what can I do today to make the situation just a little bit better. And Cindy, one of our M3 members, she said something the other day on her stories that I thought was very impactful because I talk with clients a lot about going from, you know, this restrictive mindset to setting boundaries. And for a lot of people, it can feel like boundaries are restrictive. And I would disagree. I would say it's very much your intention and your mindset about around it. If you have been dieting and from a restrictive place, you try to have boundaries. Yeah, it's probably going to feel uncomfortable, not aligning with you. But if you've worked on your mindset and you've gotten to a place where you're like, I feel good about my relationship with food, but now I need to be like, be goal supportive. She said something about like, it was about added sugar or something like that. And she was just like, I'm not doing this, not because I'm restricting, but because I'm restraining. This is a boundary I have set for myself. I don't need to be having as much added sugar or whatever it was that she was having. And it wasn't making her feel good and it wasn't aligning with her goals. And so she's like, I'm restraining from it. This is a boundary that I have. And so that could be you too, like show up for yourself and see like, what do I want to set? What's my boundary?
We do that in a lot of spaces in our life, and it helps us. Like, think about your kids. Like, you give them boundaries to help them out. It's not because you're trying to restrict childhood. You're trying to make sure they're not getting injured or they're being like decent human beings. So we put boundaries on everything. We just tend to make it weird when it comes to supporting our body. And I think that's because of all the messaging around social media, or maybe the dieting approaches that you have done in the past. That's like that automatic feeling.
Yeah.
So make the choice to take care of yourself. And then you have to agree to show up. Like, you can't just put it in the wind that you're going to eat 20 grams of protein, or I'm going to bring vegetables. You got to actually do it. Show up to take care of yourself.
Yeah. Do the things that you said you were going to do, because again, it's your choice. You want to do them. So I feel like you can get a lot of good, how to do that from like our action steps, but really this part, we're just meaning like, play out those action steps, the things that you established were going to help you set yourself up for success, do them.
Mm-hmm. Decide how you're going to make it work and fit into your life. You don't have to do it the same way as us. Do what works for you. And then the last part of this would be celebrate your wins, because as you show up for yourself, celebrate those pieces, and you're going to start to build confidence instead of kind of constantly feeling defeated. Celebrate all the wins.
And all the wins. And again, we are so quick to not do this. If we're not at our ultimate goal, we are just like, I don't know, we like put ourselves down, like, oh, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. No, allow yourself to celebrate the wins, to acknowledge them, because this is what builds that momentum and what replaces motivation. Because as soon as you feel good about yourself and good about the things that you could do, you're going to continue. So I would say like celebrate maybe not falling off the wagon at the barbecue, or celebrate getting back on track the next day without torturing yourself, or celebrate bringing a side, or saying no to alcoholic beverages, or like just, doing anything that you set out to do. Be proud of it. Hey, this week was 4th of July, but I still got in X amount of workouts. Great. That's great. Like, celebrate it.
Celebrate like adding like joyful things to your day as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like I didn't get my workout in because I went and played volleyball with my kids. Like, I'm confused. Where's the loss there? Because you still got in movement. Now your kids also got in movement. They saw you doing it, and you got to enjoy into your life. You got to spend time with your kids.
Yeah, exactly. Celebrate doing things that you actually enjoy doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this 3 parts. Hopefully by the time you've heard this, I have a baby in my arms.
You will. Let us know if you guys like these like series. We'll see if there's more that we could do, because we have a lot of like ideas for series.
All right, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.